So here we go again. This is a totally different way that we normally do things. I just want to make sure we can get this stuff out of screen. So, hey, welcome to another episode of Mojave River Valley News. I'm Eric Swanson. I'm your host. This is our candidate series. We're trying to get you some information. By the way, if you hadn't had a chance to, if you're wanting to learn more about some of these candidates, you can go to Mojave River Valley News on YouTube and look up the candidates for the 2024 races. And I think there's about 28 of them. There, the interviews that we did. It was quite a few, and so if you get the chance, go take a look at those. So I want to talk about just real quick what's happened here. We were really hoping that the ROV was going to put out some base information. So the way we look at numbers is you have preliminary information, and really that's what I call it. It's just kind of like it's information. It's all the votes that have happened from today forward. Actually, I'll take that back. Not today, yesterday back. And so those are usually mail-in ballots. Those are ballots that you might have gone to one of the either registered voters office to vote or one of their satellites to vote. That's that information. And most of the time, that data, they really try to get that stuff out because those are things in California. They're allowed to count those ballots ahead of time. In some states, that you cannot count ballots until the polls are closed. That was something that was put into law many years ago. So it's kind of crummy in some ways, because if you were to change your mind because of something happened or somebody, you cannot go back. Your ballot's already counted. It's done. So once you turn in your ballot, that's over with. So anyway, let's get back into this. I just wanted to talk about, we're going to go through some races here really and talk about some numbers. My guess is we're not going to know the base probably until midnight tonight. We're going to touch on a few of the races that have to do with really locals right now, because some of the stuff that's still coming in that's either multiple counties. We might talk a little bit what's doing in this county, but we'll talk more about after midnight tonight, really where we sit on the races that are state races or even the congressional races. We'll get more into detail. We can't talk about Jay Obernold's race because it's all right here just in San Bernardino County. So that one makes it very easy to do. So let's get into some numbers real quick here so you can get a feel for what we're doing here. The first race I want to talk about is the congressional district number 23. This is the race with Derek Marshall and Jay Obernold. Jay Obernold, I believe this is his third term he's running. He's doing it's a tough job back there, and he's doing a pretty good job for us. So for Derek Marshall to step in and to challenge this was quite a feat. So really where we are today at this moment here, this is just San Bernardino County. This one doesn't go outside. Derek Marshall has 47,000 votes and Jay Obernold 64,000, which is really a 57%. So right now the margin is huge. Jay is up 15 points. So we're not expecting this one to change as far as the percentages are, because this is an established candidate. And so I'm going to go ahead and move off on this one here. I think Jay is pretty solid on this one. This one actually can be picked. The next one I want to dive into, I'm just going to talk about the San Bernardino side. I don't have the data from the state, and we'll have that at midnight tonight, is the Suzette Valadares against Kip Mueller seat. On the San Bernardino side, Suzette's ahead, but one of the things one of my team members just mentioned a little bit ago, that she is a little bit behind, because remember, part of her seat is in LA County. And we'll have those numbers a little bit later for you, or if my team can actually get it for me in a little bit here. So we just want to touch on that right now in San Bernardino County. It really doesn't make any sense really to go into details on it because it's a multiple county. She's up by 53. She's 53%, where Kip Mueller's 46. But the last I heard that we're going across the county, she's really like neck and neck with him right now. The next seat I want to touch on is the Tom Lackey seat. Tom has been a member of the assembly. Matter of fact, this will be his last term he's allowed to run. He's at 59%. But remember, this is another one of those races that goes across and through the gerrymandering that they did a few years ago from the census. They combined the Antelope Valley, half the Antelope Valley, and half of the Victor Valley and together. To me, it didn't make sense because they're two different areas. They really have nothing to do with each other, but that's just how this stuff happens. So right now, Tom Lackey from the San Bernardino side, he's at 59%, and Ricardo Tega, he's at 40%. I'm expecting that what we'll see when we get the data from the state on that probably won't be very much off. I think Tom will still be doing very, very well with that. The next race is the Assembly District number 39. This is the one that currently is held by Juan Carrillo. Paul Marsh is running on this one. Remember, these are San Bernardino County numbers, not LA numbers. And Juan Carrillo is at 54% and Paul's at 46%. But this is still very, very early on this stuff here. The next one I want to jump into, this is an odd race because this race here kind of is a part of Phelan and Pinion Hills. And I'm not even going to touch on this until after midnight because this one here is very interesting because this is kind of a write-in ballot against somebody else. And so we'll see where this one actually sits. So we'll come back to this one. I want to go back. The first one I want to touch here is the Victor Valley Community College District. Now, these are very, very important. People say, well, I don't have anything to do with college. The college up here today in the Victor Valley is doing so much with the school districts as far as the CTE program that this career technical education is that we don't want this partnership to dissolve. There are some voices out there that have said that, oh, no, we want to pull everything back to the college campus. It's doing very well. Matter of fact, we're a model across the state. So getting the right people in the right seats here to recognize the importance of this is very, very important. I mean, Dan Walden's doing an amazing job out there. So the first one is going to be Area 3. This area is pretty much Apple Valley going east, all the way into Lucerne Valley. There's 4 candidates that are running for this one. I'm sorry. The first one we're going to do, I take that back. I'm sorry, is Pinion Hills, Phelan, part of Hesperia, part of Victorville, and Adelanto. This is Area 3. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to talk about the top candidates here. Right now, it's Chappelle Griffin. He's a doctor, Dr. Griffin. Was a past a principal, if I understand. The other person is Ken Buckness. It's quite a wide margin on this one right now, so we'll see if this actually, what happens here. I think there was a lot of support that came in that possibly could change this on the polling for the people who are voting at the polls, but we'll see it. Hopefully we get some poll information on at midnight so we can understand our base. Because right now, Dr. Griffin's at 40 and Kim Buckness is at 21. That's a huge, huge gap to make up. But we'll see what happens when the next pieces come through on this. The other college district is the one I was mentioning before, is the Apple Valley district, all the way to Lucerne, and this is Area 5. We had Steve Terrell was running against Laura Desperius. I hope I got that name right. Laura was the appointed person that last. I believe it was like 6 months, 8 months ago, from when Dennis passed away, the past member there, Dennis Henderson. And right now, Steve is at 50%, and Laura's at 52. It's surprising. These are big districts. So right now, the number of numbers we have is like 11,000 total votes. This will get very, very big because these districts are huge. So we'll see on this one the bases. Right now, Steve is training very, very, very well as far as the preliminary type of voting, the pre-voting that's coming from the ballots, mail-in ballots. Let's go into the Apple Valley School District here. Apple Valley, there's 2 areas, Area 1 and Area 3 that were up. In Area 1, we had Gary Arce. He ran 2 years ago and took the seat. The other person that's running against him is Anita Tucker, and both these people we interviewed. Matter of fact, before when we were talking about with Kim Buckness, we interviewed Steve Terrell, we interviewed Laura Desperius, we interviewed Jay Obernolte, Paul Marsh, quite a few of these different seats, Suzette Valadares. So like I said, if you want to find out who these people are, just go take a look at that. Right now, Anita is 55%, and Gary is approximately about 44% and change. I think this one's too early to call because the total number of votes that come in is only about 3,000. I'm expecting that this race here will be probably closer to about 4,000 to 5,000 votes. We'll see what happens on this. We will know more on this one. We'll see where it starts going. Hopefully, if they give us the numbers at midnight. I'm going to move into the next one, which would be the other Apple Valley Unified School District seat. This is area number 3, and this is Renee Longshore against Gary Childness. Renee is pretty steeply taking this now in the beginning here. It's going to be really tough for Gary to catch up on this because it's 60 I believe it's 68% to 31%. They ran Renee and Anita ran a very, very hard campaign, and so did Gary RC. I don't know how much Gary Childress did, but we'll see on this one. This is one to come here. The next one I want to touch on is Barstow Unified School District. This is area number 3. We had Anthony and Chris in there. Chris is the incumbent, and right now he's at 36%. Where Anthony, I hope I pronounce this, Yaes, I think is the way he pronounces it, is 63%. Chris may not make it out of this hole. We'll see. Well, like I said, we'll about to carry on with this. Let's get into Hesperia Unified School District. This is the Hesperia Unified School District. This is where I sit on the board for. I've been on there I'm going in my 20th year, so I know a lot that's going on in Hesperia. We've had many board members over a period of time that have put this, because this right now Hesperia Unified School District is the largest employer in the high desert. Which is pretty amazing. But so we had Chris Trudell against Maria Gomez. Maria Gomez was the incumbent there. Maria's doing very, very well with this, with 61%, and Chris has 38%. A lot of these races, you'll find that it's hard to raise money. You'll find a lot of these candidates say, well, I never heard anything from him. I never got a flyer from him. It's just so expensive nowadays to do these big campaigns. So right now, Maria is leading in this. We'll see more in the trending. I think she's probably going to be safe in the seat. The other one that really surprises us is the Area 4. Now, this is a district that Cody Gregg was a board member on for 3 different terms, I believe it was, for 12 years. And there was a Manny Lynn and a Marshall Hathbrow that are running on this. This one here really surprised us that the first votes that came through were pretty wide on this. I would say, far as running a race, I think Manny Lynn, got around to quite a few different homes, and so did Marshall, but both of these are kind of unknowns, where this one might have been more that, for example, if you're on the top of the ballot, sometimes people, they don't know, they just check the first one without even guessing what the person is. So right now, Manny's at 68% and Marshall's at 31%, but we'll know more when the first polling numbers come through. I'm going to head all the way up to Silver Valley. This is Ricky Wood and Mark Staggs. Mark has been on the board out there, I think, for 1 or 2 terms. Right now, Mark is comfortably holding this. These are not real big races. The total number of people that have voted so far is 298. These are very, very small areas. Silver Valley Unified is a very, very small district. It actually is a part of Barstow, or not. It's Daggett area, and a lot of it's really is Fort Irwin. So right now, Mark is at 67%, and Ricky Wood is at 32%. Let's trip right over here to Snowline Unified. Snowline only had 1 race running this time, and it was Corey Lefevre against Jennifer Radar. She is at 36%, and Corey's at 63%. A lot of that one there, besides Corey ran a good campaign out there, from what I understand, is a lot of it people might recognize in the past is Corey's mom sat on that board for many years, and that Lefevre name, probably people come back going, yeah, I remember that. So this one here, I think is going to be very interesting, but I think Corey's probably going to take the seat here. Let's run into, this is one that really is surprising me, is the Victor Valley Union High School District. Victor Union High School District is a district up here that is a high school district that's fed by many feeders, and so feeder like elementary school districts. This race here was Ken Larson and Barbara Dew were really the 2 that we thought would be the top picks. Jackie Roca we thought would be possibly there too. She was trying to run a campaign, but came in very, very late. Like I said, the stuff is very expensive. But really what is surprising me is, Barbara Dew has been on this board for, if not 30, pretty close to 30 years. And so Ken Larson was not able to run very much of a campaign, and he's at 36%, where Barbara Dew is at 28%. Really surprising. We'll see how this one continues and where this one plays out. Let's run out here to Adelanto Elementary School District. This is one district here that there was a lot of talk on, a lot of chatter on, and this one's very, very interesting. And almost, this is one of those things where sometimes we've seen in the past where there's a little bit too much negative, will flip a race completely upside down on its head. So this is between Christine Turner, which has been on the board out there for quite a while, and also Michael Kraus, which used to be a former superintendent out there. Right now, Michael's at 51% and Christine is at 48%. Very, very interesting. So this is one that we'll have to watch and see and figure out if too much negative actually contributed to this one flipping or not, or really was it Michael ran a tough campaign out there? We really don't know on this one. This one's a little bit blind on us. I do know both the folks running on this very, very well, and we'll see where this one turns out. Let's go out here to the Adelanto, city of Adelanto, and this one's kind of interesting because where we've had in the past, we've had Joy Jeanette has been kind of a staple out there. And there's 2 seats up for this, and this is one of those at-large districts. The same thing, which was some of the seats, because some of our seats out there have been broken into districts or areas or divisions, they call it, for special districts, and others are completely wide like they used to be in the old days. Well, Adelanto is an area-wide one as far as the city. They have a separate mayor, and then they have an area-wide for the 2 seats will be up this time, and another 2 years, 2 more seats will be up. So this is Joy Jeanette and Daniel Ramos were the 2 that are the incumbents here. And right now, this is kind of interesting because we see Joy in 3rd place. And she's kind of a staple out there. So right now, Daniel Ramos has 31%. Stevana Evans, if you know that name, she's tried to run for different seats in the past there. She was on the council, city council in the past there. She's running again here. And then Joy Jeanette is the 26%. So we'll have to sit back and watch this one. This one will be interesting what it turns into. So now let's run out here to the town of Apple Valley. This is one of the area staples. Again, I keep using that name, but this Art Bishop. Art Bishop has been part of the fire. I mean, gosh, tell me what he hasn't done is probably the list we should go after instead of looking at the list of what he has done. So Art Bishop right now is at 76%, and he's running against LaCaria Williams. She was really trying to run a good campaign out there. But you know what? When you're running against real strong incumbents like this that have been in these seats for a long, long time, it is really, really tough to knock them off. And our Bishop's been done a great job out there. There's no question of that. Let's run out here to the mayor's seat of Barstow, because this is one that's been very controversial in the past. You know, they're Julie Halfbra, I believe it was her name, if I remember the right name correctly. She's had a mayor out there for many years. She was part of the Del Taco family. So right now where we sit on this is that because there's 4 people that are running for 1 seat for mayor out there. And so really what we were looking at saying, who's going to actually take this? And really the 2 top seats are here was Tim Silva. Now, Tim Silva's been involved heavily with Barstow in the past. Tim has done a good job in the past, and I was kind of feeling that the community would back him. The other person that came in second is Carmen Hernandez. So right now, Tim Silva is at 43%, and Carmen Hernandez is at 18%. So that's kind of what we thought would happen in this race. And my guess is, as this goes down the line, we'll see this trend continue. The other offices out there is the city of Barstow, is just the city council. And there's 1 seat up for that, and it was Barbara Rose. Now, Barbara Rose has been a staple out there in Barstow forever. Everybody knows the name, and she was running against Leonard Williams. Right now, she has 58% and change, and Leonard has 41%. My guess is that this will probably continue and will trend this way because, like I said, she's using that word again, staples. She's one of the staples of the community there. Going on to the other city council seat, because that first one was for district number 3. This is district number 4, the other one. I wasn't sure where this was going to go because this one here, where we were seeing is a lot of people are wanting John Williams. I guess he goes by text. I don't know if I've met him before. Right now he's at 29%, and the next to him is Loretta Johnstone. It really, when you look at this, you have John is at 29%, Loretta's at 27%. The next one down below that is Rodney Brand is at 23%, and Virginia Brown is 20%. So this could go any direction, But I do know that John Williams was being pushed heavily out there, so we'll see if that actually turns into a race that he's able to hold. The total number of votes on this race is only 518 so far, so this will be interesting where we end up. The other race out there is, let me go by these here, is getting to Hesperia City Council race. This has been a race here that we've had two people that have been working a real hard campaign. This is against Chris Ochoa against the incumbent Rebecca Swanson. That, just for disclosure, that's my wife. She sat on the city council for 2 terms. Right now, this race is pretty much neck and neck. Chris right now is ahead of Rebecca by 25 votes. But we will see on this one. This one's going to be interesting. This is going to be a tight race. It might not be as decided for days to come. So we'll have to watch this one real closely. The other, and that's actually area District 1. The District 5 is the other area. Now this is the area that was the race that was Larry Bird was sat on the seat. This one was interesting because you had 4 members that were coming up for the seat. Bill Jensen, a past city council member. James Roberts, that sits on the Hesperia Recreation Park District Board. Josh Poland, which is a fire chief in administration. And James Blocker, that has actually run for quite a few different things over the years. So really what this one here is pretty solid. Josh Poland is at 52%. The next one down is James Roberts at 23%. Bill Jensen at 17%, and James Roberts is at 7%. One of the things we've seen in the past, and there's a couple of races that fall into this, is when the same person runs for multiple offices in the same ballot, sometimes that backfires against them. We'll see what happens here. Right now, we'll get down to the next race that he's in here, and we'll be able to talk about the other race too. We've seen in the past in Hesperia that people have not accepted that. But we'll have to watch these real closely. Let's go into the city of Victorville. City of Victorville, we have 3 seats that are up. It's District 1 is the first one. District 1 is this one here has been a little bit, there's been a lot of chatter out there, a lot of different directions. And it's very interesting where this one's coming out because we had Lydia Fernandez. She wanted to run just to try to run. I had a good conversation with her. We have Robert Lucero. Robert Lucero's ran in the past. Tiffany Godin, she is running, and Valentine Gordina. So, as a matter of fact, Tiffany and Valentine, I interviewed both of these, and you can see their videos online. Right now, Tiffany Gowden is at 45%. Now, the number of votes in on this is still pretty small. We'll see where this goes, but this is another one where you have to come back and look at it, and there was a lot of negative that came out on this in the background in the newspaper. Did this backfire against? I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to take some time to look at this one. But this one's still up in the air. But right now, Tiffany is at 45%. She's holding it pretty good, you know. Let's go into the next city council race, and this is an interesting one. This is with Blanca Gomez, which has been on the city council for 1 term or 2 terms. I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been 1. And that's also, she was running against Liz Becerra. Now, Liz Becerra has also been on there for 1 term. Liz Becerra she's well known in the community, and a lot of people, I think, were, I don't know if this met it or not. Blanca Gomez has been in the newspaper. She was going through a trial case that she actually lost. Maybe that had something to do with it. Liz ran a good campaign. Liz is a very, very strong candidate. I thought in the beginning here, when I heard that Liz was running against Blanca, I really felt that Liz would pull out on this and she would do a good job with this. Because right now she's at 66% and Blanca's at 33%. That's a 2-to-1, and it's early on this, but I think that this race here we'll actually see Liz even pull way further, or at least hold her ground very easily on this. The last city council race for Victorville is Area 5. This is against Leslie Irving. Leslie Irving's been on there for 1 term. Eric Negretti was in the past there. He was on the city council, and he got knocked off by, I believe it was Blanca Gomez many years ago. I have to go back to my notes and look at that again. Right now, Leslie Irving is She's pretty strong. People like her. Right now, she's at 60%. Eric is a good candidate too. He's at 39%. Well, this will take a little time to figure out this one here, but this one might hold where it is, but we'll have to see when more numbers come across. Let's move into another area that is always one of the ones that a lot of people like. Who in the heck is the Mojave River Agency, and what do they do? Well, they are the agency that's created by the state of California to really be the adjudicated water manager. And they're the ones that buy the water from us from the aqueduct, and you kind of manage all this stuff here. So these are very, very important seats because water is very, very important to us. We had two people running this. Jesse Ramirez is running. He was put on there quite a few years ago against Ronald Haffey, I believe is the last name of it's pronounced. This one here is pretty strong at this point. A lot of votes have come in on this race here, and this is 70% for Jesse, and Ronald only has about 29%. This is probably going to stick. We'll see more as things move down the line here. The other Mojave River seat is Division 7. This is against Michael Limbaum and Kelly Gregg. Now, Kelly Gregg is the other candidate that I was mentioning that ran for 2 seats on one ballot. We'll have to see really where this goes. It's pretty obvious that Michael Limbaugh is a water expert, and I think a lot of people in the community recognize that. He knows water inside and out, and right now he's at 64%, and Kelly Gregg's at 35%. I didn't think that this would be any different from this. One of the things that we see in the community is the Gregg name is one of those names that's out there that a lot of people look at and say, oh yeah, I think I know a Gregg here or there. So, but let's move on to the town of Apple Valley. Measure P. Now, this is one that we watched Victorville go through. I'm trying to remember if it was 2 or 4 years ago, and it's a 1% sales tax. Now, Victorville has been trying to use this to do a lot of good. They were able to change their library, bring on a lot of police officers, a lot of controversy about this. I'm going to guess here that we've already seen some polling numbers come through from Apple Valley, some small numbers here. And what we're seeing is the undervotes for this is really huge. Now let's explain what undervotes, because there's undervotes and overvotes. Undervotes is, for example, on your ballot, if you miss an item and do not vote on it, it's called an undervote. If you vote twice on one item, it's called an overvote. It just either doesn't count as at it or it actually voids it out. So the number of undervotes for this seat here is like 668. Right now, this is winning with 64% of the people for it and 35% against it. Really surprises me because the last time that they ran a measure like this, which was, oh gosh, I thought it was 4 years ago, and I could be wrong on that. It failed drastically. So what we're going to see, this is another good example that we have to keep in mind that far as who votes when. And so it's in trending across our country. It's always the Democrats are ones that vote early with their mail-in ballots, and the Republicans come in usually late and want to vote at the polls. And like I said earlier in the earlier casting, that we did find that there's a lot of people that are at the polls today. The polls were packed all across the whole valley, and I think everywhere. So what to watch this, if this actually is able to hold, or we find that the percentage starts creeping down. We'll know more as a few hours progress here. That's all I have for you tonight. I have some other races that I want to talk about. Is Josie, Measure K, and Measure L, and I'm going to talk more though about those after midnight when I'll be doing another cast. It'll be about 12:15, 12:20 at the latest. Please join us, because that's the one that will understand what the base is, if we're going to trend up or we're going to trend down. And that's where things really start getting interesting. We've got to keep in mind that San Bernardino County is so big that some of these ballots are actually flown, at least in the past, they've been flown in helicopters to fly them all the way down to the Registrar Voters Office. What happens is once the polls close, they, in most cases they try to make sure that there's a driver that is there, that is in charge of making sure the ballots drive from whatever the location is down to the Registrar Voters Office. And in the future, if you ever want to go down and watch the process, you can go in there as an observer. and watch the whole thing, how they do it. They'll even tour the facility. They really kind of go overboard to make sure that we as the voters can feel comfortable about what's happening with the ballots. So what happens is they start shutting down the facility, and if of course there's anybody on the line, they take care of those. Anybody that's on the line gets a chance to vote, and then they take the ballots in the box, and there's usually a couple of different ballots. There's going to be a box that has to do with the people that drop off their ballots. There's another box that is people that do the paper ballots then. And then there's one more box, and these are the people that decided to use the machine. Now, from the way I understand it, on the machine, just to make sure we have some clarity, because I had some people that made some comments about it earlier and said, what is the deal with the machines? Because I thought we don't use machines in California. I think that we are, oops, give me just 1 second here. I've got a same broadcast coming through at the same time here. So I'm going to get to it. I'm going to try to answer if there's any questions here in just a moment here. So what happens is the machines, the way I understand it, all the machines do is print a ballot that they run through the machines down there. So this is not a machine that's actually taking your vote and pushing it down. The way I understand it, again, there's no data that's exchanged. They're not on the internet. All they do is print the ballot for you. So I've had a few people that have called me tonight going, oh my gosh, they made me use the machine because they didn't have my ballot there. And I just want to make sure that they understand that that this is not the way it works. I'm going to try to get to some other questions. I don't know if I have anything. People are just chatting here who they voted for. If you had a question, this is the time to do it. Please join me after midnight, because that's when it gets a little bit more exciting. And we're going to be talking about more of the congressional races. We might even squeeze off and talk about. By then we'll know a little bit more. We might even touch on a little bit what's going on with our national races, because by then we'll know more information. Today, everything is right now at this moment, everything's still up in the air. And so, and like I said, it's one of the things I was talking about. Let me get back to this. So a lot of these, like I said, the ballot has to be all three boxes, had to be put in a car. They drive down the hill, and hopefully they don't get in a wreck, because that has actually happened in the past. We've had cars that have had ballots in them that have gotten a wreck, and they couldn't make it all the way down there. And so somebody had to come up, and they recovered the ballots, took care of the person, whatever it might have been. I don't think anybody got hurt from it. It was just something that, I don't remember if it was a car that broke down or if it was wrecked or whatever it was, but that has actually happened in the past. And you think about how far ballots have to go in San Bernardino County, because Trona, that's part of it. Baker, Needles is the one that I think they fly the helicopter. Needles is way out there. You imagine waiting for the ballot stuff from Needles, it would take forever. You have ballots that are coming all the way from the mountain areas, the mountain communities, going all the way out there to 29 Palms. So sometimes a lot of this information doesn't get in there. So really what happens, and like I say, if you ever get a chance to go down there, it's well worth going down. You'll see there's this thing where the cars drive in, and they make sure that those ballots, when they're going in those vehicles, they're checked off, they're secure, and they go into a holding area to before they're opened and everything. It's pretty amazing. So, hey, thank you very, very much for tuning in on this. I'm hoping some of this information is helpful. If you're wanting to follow this information yourself, you can go to the San Bernardino County Registrar Voters Office website and just pick in the elections there. You can follow this. What's going to happen here, just to reiterate again, is we have the 8:30. 8:30 is all the ballots that were before today. Those are the mail-ins or people that have voted at the satellite sites or even at the ROV. And then we have, normally at 10 o'clock, we hope that we get some polling information. Like I said, in Apple Valley, we saw some information, but it wasn't complete. And then at midnight is usually about the time that we start really seeing a lot of polling information. So the registered voters, for every 2 hours until all the poll data is counted, will report this. In most cases, they usually have a chance to usually finish it by very early in the late evening here into the morning. And at that point there, you'll usually only see an update at 5 o'clock every day or at 6 o'clock. And so what happens here is that that's just a day-by thing, a day-by-day thing. So we know that some of these elections could take multiple days to actually figure out. One of the ones that's right now the closest one out there is Chris Ochoa and Rebecca Swanson. And so we're very interested in see where the trending goes. I've been doing this for going back all the way into the 70s. In the last 25 years, we've had more data available to us so we can actually look at this closer. This has been a weird year. This is not normal this year at all. I think all the rules that we had for understanding trending and how it works with the numbers really are all out the window. And so anyway, please, if you have a chance to subscribe, please subscribe, ring the bell, and give us a thumbs up so that when other people want to see this, that it'll just get more active out there. And I'm hoping that let me know also in the notes if you like this format. This is different. Now, what we will be doing is as the numbers start to get more solid, we will be doing that in the studio, and we'll be able to have the whole screen up there so you can actually see all the numbers. But under these here, because we saw in the past, we're just pumping this stuff out, and it's like, wait a minute here, we're not even making sense. We're just talking about things that don't matter here very much because they're not changing fast enough. And so when they're changed day by day, we'll be able to see the trending. So, hey, catch us, please, at right about 12:15 to 12:20. I think we're going to do that tonight. I'm pretty sure that's when my team says we're going to be ready with that. And we have some more numbers that are going to be very interesting because we'll touch on the state numbers and we'll go into a lot more detail. Hey, stay tuned with us. We'll be right back with you back then. Hope to see you.